Welcome to Learn Smart Coding, the ultimate destination for mastering cutting-edge tech skills. From front-end framework to the back-end system, our video covers it all. With real-time demos and in-depth tutorials, we'll teach you how to code like a pro. Subscribe now and start your journey to becoming a smart coder. Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about the building Docker images for the .NET Core apps, and this is nothing but the developing .NET 7 apps with Docker part 4. Come, let's dive in. So I am opening and showing you my Docker desktop. In the Docker desktop, to the right side, you can see the containers and the images. Right now, there's only one container which is actively running, right, under the port 5341, which is the serial.sync.seek. And if you come to the images, there are 14 images. And all these images will give you a tag, and whatever you see dev is all mostly run from the local. We have 3 projects, whatever was run, everything was based on the Docker, so we have those images there. Now let me tell you and show you how to build the Docker images. Let's go to the first the Visual Studio Code, right click on the Dockerfile, and there is an option to build the image. Similarly for the Visual Studio, at the top right click, if you see, build Docker images. But let's not do that. Let's use the command, right? Let's get used to the command lines. So there is a command called docker build -t followed by the image name colon tag name, and then you need to use -f followed by the project under which the Docker file is present, and the last dot is basically, it says the current directory. Okay, so if you use this command, it will build and you will have a image created with a tagged latest. Let's go here, let's go right now, it shows 15, and you see the top one, it shows the image name followed by the tag name, which is latest. Alright, so we know how to build an image now. Okay, so now let's use the Docker space images to get all the image list that is there running on our side, the Docker desktop, and I'm using this command. So what is this command? So we are saying docker run followed by -p. -p is for port mapping. We are saying map the 5000 port with the container port 80 followed by 2 environmental variables. That's why we specify -e. One says the simple property having a value called docker exclamatory. The second one is the environmental variable. So the next one that you see is --name. We just give a name, and then -d for detached mode. We are saying LSA/learn smart coding API. That's the image name. Once you do this, we got a reference. So now the application is running. So you see this is running. So how do we do it? So now we know this is running in the port 5000. So if you go to the browser, put localhost 5000, the container will start running and your application is launched, right? So now if you go to the seek, which is 5341 port, you can see the application got running, and then we have a dump of the logs already in the place. So that's how it is. You see this, the simple property, which is docker exclamatory, which was set from the command line, is coming up here. So we know for sure this is running from what we did. Now let's go to the container, and you can also see the container name here. You can see the logs, inspect terminal files, statistics here. All right. If you go to the terminal and put ls, okay, that's a command, the Linux command, you can see all the DLLs that was packed up is showing up here. There is no source code as such. Okay, all the deployed version of the DLLs are coming up here, and under the files you can see the files, and statistics is basically to tell you what this image is doing, like how many MB is used and all those stuff. So the next thing is, how do we tag an image and how do we push that to the registry? That's what we're going to see now. Alright, now let's pull up a Docker images. It will list you all the images that is there in the Docker hub, which is in the local. Now you can put docker tag --help. Docker tag --help will tell you the command that you need to use for the tagging a image. It basically says a source image and then a tag followed by the target image and its tag. Okay, so we're gonna do a tagging now. The first thing that we do is docker tag followed by the image name. The image name, the source image name is learn smart coding, tag is latest. If you don't specify latest, the latest tag is what will be used. Okay, in our case the tag name itself is latest. Alright, and then you see this right now it's giving me an error. That's because uh, the source image name is incorrect. So the moment I use lsc slash followed by the proper image name, right, this is the actual one. So once I do this, it creates the tag. So let's create another tag. So docker space tag. Now I'm using lsc slash the learn smart coding API. That's the source image name, and in our case I'm using just lsc API, the previous one that we tagged, right? So with that tag latest, and then I'm giving the target tag, the lsc slash lsc API 1.0. 1.0 is the tag name. And if you do a docker images, whatever we just tagged should come up here. You see this lsc slash lsc API, and then the tag name was 1.0. Okay, so whatever we tagged, we were able to see it here. We tagged two things, it was coming up, and you can also see the image ID is all same because all these tags were created by the same source image. That's why the image ID is same. Alright, now how do you know to which registry you are going to push? Right, we should know where we are going to push, right? Like I said in the previous video, there are different registries. If a company might have their own registry, Microsoft will have their own registry, Docker will have their Docker Hub registry, right? So there are various registry where the images can be pushed. Now in our case we're going to push to the Docker. If you do a Docker info, in this information it will give you basically what we are going to do is, let's type docker info, and then the docker info will give you a bunch of information. Alright, now you can also use docker image inspect followed by the dash format, and then dot repo digest followed by the image name lsc slash lsc API. Right now there is no registry, that's why just the empty array is coming up. Now, so basically, it is nothing but the index.docker.io slash vi. I mean v1. This is the API that eventually goes and touches the hub.docker.com. Okay, that's an API endpoint for the hub.docker.com. Okay, so using this only, we are going to push to the hub.docker.com, and we're going to see that now. So the first thing is what you have to do is docker images. Okay, we are able to see all the images, so far good. So what we will use is, we will use docker space push. We will do dash all dash tag. Okay, you can do a dash help and see what does that mean. So this one is nothing but we are trying to push this to to the repository, to the registry, but I'm getting access denied. So let's do a docker login. See, when you do a docker login, actually based on your docker desktop credential that you have logged in, it will authenticate you. Okay, there are other mechanisms that will authenticate you, but right now what I know is it is based on what you have been logged in into docker desktop. Now I still get it, right? So that's because there is no repository created in the docker hub that I logged in. This is my username. So let's create a repository. Let's go to repository. My username is learn smart coding. Repository name is lsc slash lsc API. Okay, and right now I can choose it's public or private, but based on my the free version, it's public, so I will name the repository as just lsc. Okay, let's not have any slash and other stuff. My repository name is lsc. I'm going to push my image to this repository, okay, so that others can download it. Now we created a repository. If you clearly notice, please pay attention here. It is username followed by the repository name. So when you do a docker push dash all dash tags, the first one that we use is our image name, lsc slash lsc API. Okay, now that's our image name, and if you have to push to a particular repository, what you have to do is you need to use the repository name. So there you can see the docker command right to the right side, docker push learn smart coding slash lsc followed by the tag name. See, that's what I have used it. So to be clear, let's go through the commands. So you see this docker tag, we used our image name, tag name followed by the new tag name. So we tagged it. Now we logged in. So Docker login. Now what did we use? It logged in, and then Docker push. The next one, learn smart coding. That's my username / repository name followed by the tag name, right? So that's how you will use. And once it is pushed, if you go to repository and choose the LSC repository, you see there's a tag called LSC API. That's how it is used, right? So we were able to now build an image, tag an image, push to a repository. We were able to succeed in all these steps. Okay, you should definitely try this properly using commands. Then only you will remember all these things. Now this is one thing, right? You can delete this tag, you can push different tags. Basically based on what you push, people can download. So you can use commands called docker pull, and then the username followed by the repository name and then tag name. So we're going to use that as well and see how it works. So let's create another repository so that we can try one more time. These steps are important. So this time the repository name is, so let me create a repository name .NET Core demo. I created, you can see here it's learn smart coding username / repository name. Okay, so we are going to do the same thing one more time. So we have the tag. Okay, so this time what we will do, we will say docker tag the source name, and then followed by we were going to tag it to the learn smart coding, the username / repository name, and then followed by the tag name. This is very important. It has to be username followed by the repository name tag name. That's how you will tag to a particular image. Okay, if not, you cannot push it to the registry. So remember that. Now let's use the docker push, learn smart coding username, the repository name, and then the tag, right? So the tag that we created locally, now we are pushing it to the registry. If you go to the repository, you can see the tag that was created here. Okay, so I hope you understand this. This is important. So the next thing that we will do is, let's see how to pull this image of a particular tag in our local and run it. That's what we are going to do next. Okay, so we have right now these two repositories. You can add some description so people come here with a public thing so they can know what it is. For time being, for demo purpose, I did not add too much of information. It's just a repository with some basic description. Alright, now we are going to see how to pull and run the pushed image from the registry, right? So I'm going to first delete all the images in my local the Docker desktop. You can either delete it from the Docker desktop UI, or you can also use RMI, remove image command. You just need to use the name and it deletes here. Okay, so you can use both. That's absolutely fine. I'm gonna delete almost everything except the one that is running. I'm gonna delete everything. So see, all the images has been deleted. That's okay. All those images will come up if you run the application. So right now there are two containers running, which are based out of the two images that is there. Okay, one is the serial.sig and the other one is the application that is running. Alright, so how do you pull an image from the registry? You remember we just saw how to push an image. We tagged it, we pushed an image to the repository, right? Now if you go to the public view of this, you'll see a command called docker pull followed by the username / image name and then followed by the tag. So right now let's see what is there in the local. Docker images will give me whatever is showing in the Docker desktop. Like I said, there are only two images. Those are listed here. Alright, so if I use docker pull the username followed by the image name, it will try to get the latest one. So what we are going to do is, let's go to our another repository, which is the .NET Core demo repository. You can see a tag name called LSC API, right? If you go to public view, here the command is basically docker pull username / the repository name, and now you should remember, if you enter like this, it will try to take the tag called latest. We don't have any such tag called latest, right? So what is our tag? If you remember, LSC API, that's the tag that we did, right? So I'm doing all this thing intentionally so you remember what we are doing. So if you do a docker pull username / repository name tag name, it will pull the particular one and put it into your local. That's why we see Docker images. The third one is appearing. Okay, the image ID starts with 5C2A2. Now this command is familiar with for you. So it's a Docker run port mapping to 5000 to the 80 port of the container, passing in the variables, the environment variables, and then we also say the name is LSC test, detached mode of, then followed by the name of the image, learn smart coding / .NET Core demo. That's the image, and then tag is LSC API. Now if you run this 5000 port in the local host, see the application is running. So I will just click on a couple of times to execute, right? So these data are coming. If you go to the serilog sync.seek, you will see the information that is dumped. See, now we opened up the 5341, the serilog sync. So if you run a couple of times, and if you refresh the sync, it will give you the logs. We can also see the executed logs of the APIs, and also if you come and see, you will see the dump that we did. Okay, so that's how it works. And if I refresh this and scroll down after you refresh, you can see the configuration dump, and you can also see what was passed in the port mapping, I mean the Docker run followed by the port mapping that we did, right? So here you see Docker exclamatory. That's what has been loaded here. All right, come now let's see what is container fast mode. So I'm going to run the application locally using the Docker configuration, which means the Docker commands will kick in. There will be a container, there will be an image created, there will be a container running from our stuff. If you see the container to the left side, which is learnsmartcoding.api, you can see the environment variables, and then if you go to files, literally the source code is present. Okay, the source code is all present along with the but if you see the built container, only the DLLs are present. That's the difference. Okay, so the container running from the local will have the code, but not the one which is already built. Okay, and if you see go to the Docker hub, and if you further go, if you click on the container that is running, and if you go to terminal, it doesn't show here, right? So this one is not running from local. This is the container that is already was running through using the port mapping that we did. So if you run like that, you will not see the coding that's been copied, only the deployed DLL version will be there. So that's the difference, and I think that's it for this video. So you will know the basics of what is Docker, how to build the Docker for the .NET Core applications, what are images and all those things. Okay, there are 4 parts, and I'll publish a separate video combining all these 4 parts. In the next video, which is a separate video, I will talk about the Docker Compose, a superb concept, and it will free us from a lot of hurdles. So you should learn about the Docker Compose as well, and I will see you in the next video soon. Thank you. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!